Don't go live until I say anus, though. Oh, wait.
They hate us because they ain't us.
They hate us because they ain't us. And we're live, so this is going to be a lobby about anuses if you want to join. If you have one. If you don't have one, you can't join. Sorry.
We're just talking crap, you know.
But really, if you don't have one, you can still join because that's discrimination. So it looks like my next gun is going to be another AR. But the place I buy it from now has a wait time because they're Cerakoting it. They have different color options.
I'm gonna finally break the habit of buying handguns since I'm about to buy my ninth one, and I'm gonna finally hunker down and buy me a good rifle. Looking at a Swiss K31 surplus rifle, and I'm already bracing for impact that the McGinnis custom stock is going to cost more than twice what I pay for the rifle, but it's what I want, so that's what I'm going to go for.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I have my handguns outweigh my rifles about 4 to 1. So they have armor black, which I don't know what that is, graphite black, Magpul OD green, Patriot brown, Coyote tan, titanium, tungsten, burnt bronze, Barrett bronze, sniper gray, wild pink, robin's egg blue, and sig dark gray. So I don't know which gray to get. Titanium, tungsten, sniper gray, or sig dark gray.
Titanium sounds pretty serious.
I have to go on the Cerakote website and check out their. They
Well,
got all
according
the
to
numbers.
Yankee, pink is the deadliest color weapon available, so
When did that come out?
he put a video out like 3 or 4 days ago about the deadliest weapons on Earth or something, and he showed this bright pink handgun, and he was like, "Look, don't get pink guns. Women don't want pink guns. They don't like pink guns. You can get pink grips, that's fine, but don't make the whole gun one color." And he just went on a tirade about it.
That's not true. I've seen a lot of women with pink guns on the Instagrams. Pink AKs, pink ARs, pink Glocks.
I thought about
It's
having
just
my
old and out of touch with the colors.
could very well be. I thought about having my K31 stock done in
Pink?
no, no. I've got I'm a bit of a guitarist too, and I've got a thing for quilted maple. And McGinnis, uses you can use wood, you can use polymer. He's got a couple of options available, and I wanted to ask him to make my K31 stock in quilted maple, but for the top coat to use like a red colored clear, so it has that quilted maple pattern, but a shiny red clear coat on top of it. I thought it'd look really cool since the Swiss colors is white and red anyway. Of course, if I took it out of the bag, it's gonna just scream, "Hey, look at me!" You know.
It's cool though. As long as you like to look at it.
I'll probably just chicken out and just go with the standard quilted maple, but if he'll make it.
So did you just take a picture of that gray Glock, or did you buy one?
Yeah, I just seen one while I was standing there, so I took a picture of it.
Was it a 23 or a 19?
I think it was a 19. I just literally stuck my patch on there and took a picture. I didn't even look.
Because I've seen, those are the only ones I've seen, are the 23s and 19s. I haven't seen a 17 in the store, or a 21 or a 20. I guess a gray 20 would be a cool first 10 millimeter. But I'm not buying any more handguns.
Dead air.
So fill it.
Alright. Owen got a M70 AB2 today.
Oh yeah?
Pretty sweet. Yeah, I only shot 120 rounds through it because I was sweating bullets at the range, but
Underfolder?
yep.
Which one? Who makes it?
It's from Century. It's a Zastava, whatever you would call it, Bugle.
Right on. So it's made over there then.
Yeah, I think they're kind of like the Wassers, where come in.
Is it wood or plastic furniture?
It's plastic furniture, and then the underfolder.
Does it have an imported by Century, or what's the? And it'll have like a made manufacturer's like factory name, and then it'll have an importer if it was imported from another country.
Yeah, I think Century just imported it.
Right on.
Zastava, Yugoslavia on the rear sight.
Okay.
But I think they kind of just do those. Don't they do these mostly like the Wassers? I think they replace the barrel and.
I don't even think they replace the barrel. They just.
They
If
definitely
it's-
don't replace the barrel. That's why you
Yeah.
want an imported gun.
Okay.
If it's from Zastava, then it's a whole gun.
So they make that gun in Yugoslavia, it sounds like, or whatever, Croatia. It should say Croatia, I would think.
Yeah, what does it say? Zastava Kragujevac, Yugoslavia.
And then that's like on the trunnion, the little, or like the
Yep.
solid on the receiver.
Yep.
Right on. And then it says something like 7.62 by 39.
Yep.
Okay. And then where does it say Century on there?
It says it right in front of the magazine on the receiver.
On the
Oh,
bottom.
underneath there?
Yep, underneath.
How does it say Century?
Oh, I can throw out the light here. It's just whatever, like the engraving, Century Arms, Georgia, Vermont. And
Doesn't say imported? That might be a Century built gun then.
Does
Oh.
the bolt carrier say NPAP on it?
No.
Okay.
No, I have MPAP too.
Where do they say that on there?
It's like engraved into the side of the widest part of the bolt carrier.
So you can see it from when the thing is just sitting there? Like,
Yeah.
it's just always visible?
Yeah. It'll say MPAP and then it has like your serial number in that behind
Really?
it. Dude.
I've never seen that. That's cool, I guess.
Or yeah, this one has the bulge trunnion in that and it has a M70 AB2. Kind of faded. I think it says 1983 under that, and then the serial number, which they're mismatched serial numbers. So I'm
Yeah,
assuming they're
that's-
just like parts
That
guns.
sounds like a gun that was a M70 AB2 made in whatever you said, 83 or 86.
Yep, 83, I think it is.
Okay, so then that gun was made in '83, and I guess you could probably try doing some research on it, but either made for Yugoslavia at the time was the name of the country, so that's why it says Yugoslavia,
Right.
or made for a contract run, because sometimes they would outfit other countries, armies, warlords, whoever could buy them with, like runs. So, like batches or whatever. And typically they were the standard M70AB or AB2 in this case. And then that gun was either shipped somewhere or sold, just used in Yugoslavia. And at some point between 1983 and now, it got chopped up into parts. So it came over here as a barrel and everything minus the trunnion. And then Century imported that at some point, and maybe they were importing them while there was a lot of those parts kits coming over, or they imported them with the idea that they were going to build them into guns. But then at some point they bought their own receiver, it sounds like, and contracted someone or else hired people. I'm not sure if they contract that out or if they just hire their own gunsmiths. We'd have to ask them. But then they took those parts and assembled them back into that rifle on a U.S. barrel, on a U.S. receiver. Now, I'm going to assume that barrel is imported, but it may not be. When they're made out of parts kits like that, if the parts kit came after the stupid barrel ban, which was like 2009 or something, then more than likely it's a U.S. barrel.
Yeah, I think it is.
Sounds like what Dano has, or what Justin has.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask him all, because I got that, and you get the cleaning kit. I know he got a sling where it had a little pouch for the cleaning kit. Like, well, where did he get that? Because I don't know, I do a search for it, and all I get is either guns or forums. I didn't do 10 pages deep or anything, but yeah, I think it's about the same one he has. I mean,
and that was like new off the shelf?
Yeah, I mean, just at the shop. Well, they had a couple in the back, and well, I had them bring them all out so I could take them apart, and they didn't really like that, but they sold the gun, so that makes it better.
That's cool to let you.
Yeah, he was kind of hesitant, like.
Differences between the three? Like, was there an obvious good one?
Yeah, well, the action was smoother on this one. One of them, I pulled out the piston in that, and there was pitting on it. Like, well, I don't want that one. And yeah, one of them was just like beat to hell. It was like a display model, it seemed like, but it was still in the box.
Well, no, that makes sense, because remember, these were real guns made back in '83 and then used as full auto M70 AB2s somewhere, potentially even in some sort of skirmish or action, and then at some point sold or purchased or whatever to somebody who wanted to bring them over here. So they just took a hacksaw to them, or a torch, usually a hacksaw, and cut them up into the required amount of pieces. And then, so that's why that gun looks in the condition it looks like, because that's legitimate wear. That's real use. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't want that, I guess, but I don't know. I took the one with the better finish than that. The rivets all look fine. But yeah, it does have the, where you're, save fire your selector. It doesn't have that extra notch like or extra piece of metal like the MPATs and that do, where it won't go fire and full auto. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where this one doesn't have that extra chunk. But
you mean going down towards the trigger guard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like on the MPATs, I don't know if you've seen those at all or not. They have like a extra, I don't know, 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch or something like that piece of metal sticking up so your selector doesn't go down that close to the trigger guard. This one, there's a dimple for fire, safe, and then it just slams into that block they got. So it was.
Yeah, so that's just a fluctuation between the models, probably. So that's just sort of normal, like the difference between an M70 and a M70 AB2. That might be one of them.
Right. Well, yeah, this one could have been or was a full auto, I suppose. Not anymore, obviously, but.
You think if they put it together here with a U.S. barrel, the U.S. barrel would have chrome lining?
Yugos, I think they did. Oh wait, with the U.S. barrel, that's up to what they buy.
Yeah.
Some do.
Some they do and some they don't. Just like the other, C39s and stuff like that. Some are chrome lined, some aren't.
Because all the ones from Zastava factory, the Yugos, they don't have chrome line barrel.
I don't think so.
But if you take the muzzle brake off, maybe you can tell.
I don't think this one is, but I can pop it off. I know my end pap isn't. I know that. That's from Stava. I don't think so. No, it would be like chrome, obviously. I don't think that's chrome lined at all. I don't know, pretty cool though. Haven't seen too many complaints. Got a bayonet lug on it, and grenade launcher, gas tube cut off, and that for blanks.
You're saying it didn't come with any accessories, though?
No, all I got was that little cleaning kit, big pill-looking thing with a brush and patch runner, basically. But hell, even that, I don't know, my MPAP doesn't have a bayonet lug on it, so that's something cool. That's something else to get for it.
Yeah,
Or the launcher, I don't know what I would do with that, but what's up?
You're gonna need a bayonet. Dano got grenade launchers pretty cheap, or the thing, the tips, whatever. So you can get that too.
Oh, I think they just shoot blanks, don't they? You shoot a blank or whatever. Supercharged 7.62, basically blank, and that's what propels it.
Yep. I don't know if they're supercharged, though.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I have no idea how the hell that would work.
There are supercharged ones, but those are usually for something. So, well, I guess I don't know if shooting a grenade is something or not.
I just figured, like supercharged to get something that big going. To actually launch it out. I suppose you're aiming up quite a bit, but still, you'd want some pretty good force behind that.
Yeah, the launcher, the sights for the grenade launcher has two different distances. So I guess one.
Yeah, they got 350, 100, and 150K. So kilometers. That's quite a hike.
Yeah. But does it have? It has kilometers, but does it have another measurement on it?
Yeah. T? I don't know what that would be, though.
Yeah. I know we were talking about it with Dano a few months ago. And we found like a chart with a grenade launcher and the different lengths or whatever you can launch them.
Okay. Yeah, I do. A couple of you guys had them. I've been looking at them for a while, and yeah, shit, I don't know. I looked at 2 or 3. I was there a couple hours, and then walked out with one.
Yeah, they're cool. I need another AK. All this AK talk.
Sorry. Enablers here.
Still tempted to buy that Century AMD 65. It's not on their website, so I don't know what the hell.
So you got a link to that?
I was just alerted that Edge will be going live at 10 p.m. Eastern, and the topic will be gun-free zones.
Oh, shit.
And Donald Trump's tweet to eliminate all of them.
Oh, yeah. We should listen to that guy. He's got a point. It's about time.
Well, putting the sign up that says gun-free zone basically to a criminal just reads all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you're going to have one, don't post it.
I ate lunch at a place with a sign like that today, and I wasn't murdered. Coincidence? I'm just saying.
I saw a place that had a gun-free zone sign from my work, about 5 minutes from my work. It got robbed 7 times. It's out of business.
Coincidence?
Likely.
They obviously didn't hang the sign well enough.
Yeah, Christ, didn't those criminals see the sign?
Not enough red arrows pointing at it.
So while I was on social media today, looking at all the anti-gunners talk about it, they kept bringing up the fact that it was a drive-by shooting. So what do you guys think? He would have targeted that place whether it had that sign or not, huh? And
Well,
since he was
if
driving
you consider
by and doing
drive by as drive, stop, pull down the top, lean over your hood, fire more than 40 rounds into the window, get back in your car, put the top back up, and drive off as a drive-by, then yeah, I guess that was a drive-by shooting.
well,
I thought it was
I don't know
drive-by.
he had a convertible.
Yeah, it was a silver Mustang convertible.
Okay.
Especially if he never got out of the car, that's still a drive-by.
But the rest of the area, he's still outside. The rest of the area is not like a gun-free zone, so he still could have been picked off by some concealed carrier walking down the street or something.
Totally.
So I'm thinking that whether the sign was there or whether they were armed or not didn't make really much of a difference. He was just targeting some type of military installation.
Yeah, that place was picked, and 2 of the Marines that were killed were in the parking lot, which sort of makes you want to think that they were going out to their vehicle where their weapons may have been, and they just never made it there.
Because they were in the parking lot, or they ran out to the parking lot?
They were running out to the parking lot, and they were mowed down in the parking lot.
Yeah, one of the stations even showed one laying down near like some containers.
Yeah, I don't know. That just seems crazy that, I don't know, you can be trusted and get trained with firearms, but don't carry them if you're on our bases. That makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
Well, I'm going to keep playing devil's advocate because I don't want to live in a society where we have armed guards walking around at a federal level. So I like to look at it that I don't remember. I mean, there's this one and there's the other one in Fort Hood. And then I would like to challenge someone to tell me how many other ones there have been in our lifetimes, because I've been born after, I was born not during Nam, but I was born after Korea and World War II and any other times when there was actually world powers out to get us. I lived through the Cold War, and even during the Cold War, with such massive military buildup at an unprecedented level that it dwarfed all spending on the entire World War II, right? Even during that time, with that type of military buildup and that type of animosity towards the other half of this whole fucking planet, we didn't have armed guards in the streets. So somehow we managed to live all that time peaceful and free with our military not carrying firearms because there was some law against it, but because we live in a free world where they don't need to carry firearms when they're here. So I don't want to let the terrorists, with my quote signs up, because I don't even necessarily believe this is terrorist. I believe if you want to start shit in a free country, you can say you're whatever you want to say you are. But until they prove to me that that's really a terrorist or whatever, I'm going to put my quote signs up. But because of one terrorist, we're going to now change our philosophy of being a free, open, non-military country to a military country from 1 or 2 incidents? That doesn't make sense. And even if that did make sense, are you going to allow those 1 or 2 incidents to come from someone who doesn't even represent a political power, that literally just represents some fucking people who are butthurt in some part of the world that we think is over there, that's insane. That would literally be overreacting in every sense of the definition.
No, I'm not saying have armed guards everywhere. I'm saying, why is there a law saying you can't do it if you're
A legally licensed concealed
right, a
carry
license
holder.
or you're in the military? Why shouldn't you have the option? It's that you can't carry here.
I'm gonna put on my closet
Yeah.
racist old world person because my dad was born in the 30s and I was born a generation late because I'm a second marriage child or whatever. But your example of how we went through a world war and a police action in Vietnam without the threat of homegrown terrorism, I guess is a good way to put it. Um, Mass transit was very, very different back then. And America was much whiter back then, I guess is a good way to put it. There was very, very much lower populations of the types of people who were causing these heinous acts back then compared to now. And you get these people here who have access to, mass media worldwide and influence worldwide, and it doesn't matter where they're living because the news is a click away now, which it wasn't in the 50s and 60s. So their drive is very different back then than it is now. It's instant now. They can be influenced and brainwashed, I guess is a good way to put it, at a click away compared to what it used to be like, where they had to wait for a paper or they had to wait for someone to come to the States and convince them to come to their brainwashing or their meeting or their whatever you want to call it.
I say, what's the difference between that and the argument that violent video games make everyone violent? The internet exists, so shouldn't it be that much easier to make everyone healthy? Shouldn't the facts that being healthy and fit make you live longer and have a better life? Those are obvious facts, and now with the internet, they're available to everyone at their fingertips. Yet, that's not the way it is. So
Absolutely.
I hear you, and I hear the potentials there, but I believe that it's overreaction to change lifestyle because of a single incident in a country of 350 million people.
Well, for every example of education that is now at your fingertips, there's probably 10 examples of spreading hate and ignorance on the same avenue. So, yes, there is more knowledge out there. There's more influence out there to do positive things. But there's so much more negativity and there's so much more hate and negative influence out there that it's it's just more accessible.
There's more
hate.
I don't think so. I think
it's just more accessible
hate in the world. I think that there might be accessibility to hate. Yes.
So it's just easier to get to, I guess, which makes it easier to influence people because it's easier for them to find it.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying there, where if it was papers or something, but this way you can be whatever you are. A kid sitting in your room just getting flooded with, well, I'm kind of into this guy, whoever he might be, some psycho, and you can constantly get it flooded in, where compared to back in the day, if you were sitting in your room, you were bored as shit and probably hotter than hell. Because there wasn't any air conditioning.
A kid can sit in his room and learn how to spell, and a kid can sit in his room and learn robotics. So what a kid could do, we can only look at what has happened and what does happen, right? We can only look at history. If we're going to talk about what might happen, then we're just talking in the clouds, right? So how many times has this happened? And then I would suggest look at the rest of the world and ask how many times it happens there. So it's exactly the same thing, like literally the exact same thing as when they bring up every time a gun thing happens, and this happens to be a gun thing, but I'm preaching the choir here. Every time they bring up a gun thing, the world's ending, violence is on an increase. Well, is it really? Is it? Because this is the second time it's happened that I can think of.
Yeah, well, when they're talking about homegrown terrorism or sleeper cells or whatever the catchphrase of the week is, we're at the cusp. We're at the very beginning of what's going to be the norm for the next generation of our children or our children's children. this didn't happen before. I agree with you completely, but this is what the world is becoming. You know?
Wait, what didn't happen before? Everything happened before.
Well, internet
Nothing has happened
influence.
new.
If there were still shootings and stuff, if that's what we're still on.
Right, but I mean, like, internet influence, and I guess the idea of this never happened before to a degree that it's happening now. The accessibility to
That is
influence
complete
different.
falsehood, though, and that's what they're trying to desperately to make us believe. But I don't understand how that's even a concept. How is this happening more now than ever before?
I don't think it's happening more now. I think it's just more reported now because, you know, getting the information out is so much easier than it used to be. It probably happened, you know, for the last 100 years, except before, in my dad's time, he didn't see it until it showed up on print a month and a half later.
Now,
Where now it happens a minute and a half later.
I would tend to believe that a copycat has more incentive now to repeat something horrible, or even worse, to make it even more atrocious so that they can gain notoriety, because they know that at the moment that's what people fixate on. So I'll agree with you that there might be some incentive now, but I suggest there's been horrible, horrible, horrible things happening all the time, and
Oh hell yeah! If they just weren't talking about it.
it's just the
Look at
nature.
all the, you know, during World War II and stuff like that, all the experiments and shit they would do on people, it just wasn't talked about. Come on. It's just there's always horrible things
I'm
going
trying
on.
to read what they're I'm trying to read what they're saying in the chat. So I know I'm wrong when I say it's only happened 2 times, because I'm really just chatting in a chat, right? But let's say that I'm totally wrong and it's happened 20 times. Is 20 times enough that you're going to doom this generation and every subsequent generation on this planet to some sort of like military bunkers for our recruiting stations?
No, I think what it is they're just trying to take away the legal disarmament of your service people at these locations. They're not saying that we have to change something that's already there, you know, for, I guess, oppression of a tyrannical government or anything. What they're saying is if you're stationed in Tennessee and you are a legal concealed carrier in Tennessee, you're still a man going to work. Yes, you work for Uncle Sam, but you're still a man going to work, and you still have all the rights and freedoms to protect your life, even at your workplace. And if there's a military doctrine saying that you're not allowed to do so, and your weapon has to be in your car 300 feet away where you can't get to it in time, that's archaic and outdated.
There we go.
To
Now
a
that
degree where you need to save yourself.
I'll stand 100% behind that, because that's the way I just got scared when we were kind of saying, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I think the argument's being
recruiters
spun.
should be armed, and I'm like, I don't think recruiters
Oh,
need.
no, I don't think that at all. It's
No, I see it as a citizen working for an entity, and that entity
And
just
then that way
happens to
it's
be Uncle
perfect,
Sam.
because that I contend that's perfect, because then it's just up to the individual. If you decide to have the personal responsibility to defend yourself, go for it. If you choose not to, go for it. You're just as equally able to do either. But the bad guy don't know if it's everybody or nobody or something in between, and I think that's as effective as anything. Once the bad guys figure out that every once in a while they're going to die from trying shit like that, they're going to find other things to do.
Yeah, the element of surprise is the best deterrent, because if you don't know what your enemy's got, you're not going to go in guns blazing unless you've got a pretty good idea who's going to be shooting back, or if they're even going to do it. I mean, if they were spinning this where they were going to make some sort of doctrine that says the sergeant on duty will be able to carry and nobody else will, that's a bit too oppressive. But if they say if you're a legal citizen, that you have, you know, your particulars in order and you have the legal right to carry to defend your life, even though you work for Uncle Sam, so be it. Do it. It's your right as a human being.
Yep, I'll agree with that. That definitely wasn't my argument that everybody should be armed because they're at a recruiting station or on base or anything, but there shouldn't be a law against you being armed.
Yeah, I mean, just don't
That's
prevent your
ridiculous.
own right to protect your life. Just because you work for Uncle Sam doesn't make you less of a human. It makes you more of a human because you took an oath to protect the rest of us.
Yeah, I just think it's.
Hey, what's going on with that image you got there? Is that a hammer on that gun? I thought it was a Keltec at first, but it's like a nothing, I guess. But I think it's supposed to have a hammer. That like, John James Bond looking picture. All right. So it looks like things just got real.
Yeah, I come in these chats because I can. That's pretty much why.
So what's your problem? You want the?
I mean, I don't know what you guys are even talking about. You don't want military personnel to be carrying at recruiting centers and at home, right? Like when they're on base.
No,
No,
They have M&Ps already, right?
I guess
they
to
have
make it clear, no, they definitely don't have MP. Wait.
I mean, they have military police and guards when they're at base.
That's true, but that's when they're on base. Recruiters are typically like in, you know where recruiters are. They're just like out and about.
they're
But
in the
what if one of
strips.
those recruiters? I don't know how the military works. If they're like in the reserves at that point, if they're active duty, but they might have concealed carry permits. So why not? Yeah,
Well,
but
that
it could be anything.
I'm down with that concept. That if an individual has a concealed carry permit or lives in Arizona where we don't need them, or one of the other 6 states where you don't need it because you can carry constitutionally, then I think it's up to the prerogative. It should be up to the prerogative of the individual. I guess what my concern was, I would not be an advocate of recruiters are now issued sidearms because there's some potential threat against recruiters. I just don't.
I wouldn't mind it. No, just my question because I just got here, but I'm pretty sure it's against the rules for you to carry your concealed carry, when you're on the job.
Yes.
So yeah. So if they change that rule, you wouldn't have a problem with that.
Right. There's a
Definitely.
bill coming up Monday morning in the Tennessee legislature to put a stop to that rule or law or mandate or whatever that archaic line of text is.
And you were talking about the Cold War, and it's funny because to me it's like, don't you think it would be different if, I don't know, say since 9/11 there were just 10 attacks. If we could trace them all back to Russia, we could trace them all back to the Kremlin, and they were all somehow like Spetsnaz trained fuckers that were like shooting up American army bases with their spies and recruiting centers and blowing up marathons in Boston. We could trace that all back to Russia. Don't you think shit would be jumping the fuck off? But since it's all like monkey gorilla fucking shit, that it's like, well, we can't really trace it back. Like,
I don't think you're fucking ready for this, but I'm the first one to stand in line to believe that it already is. I don't think it's Spetsnaz, because that's foolish, but I think it's Russian handlers from the KGB or whatever the remnants of. But again, they said during the Cold War and before, and it's their doctrine of all these statists, that the way you kill free people, a free society, is by letting the people take it out from the inside. So they're going to be over there trying to poke that along. So
they have the same problem with the Chechens. They were trying to warn us about the Boston bombers. They have the same problems we have with these extremist fucking nutjob Muslims. So they have the same issues. Like, they're over there trying to kill them as fast as they can, too. Like, and they were trying to warn us about those guys in Boston because that's probably the last common interest we have with them. And it's mind-boggling that they do business with Iran and shit all the time, and they seem not to give a shit. Like, eventually it might come back to them. Like, that you're doing business with people who might give weapons to terrorists that you're fighting against. But I don't know. I doubt it was. I mean, it could be. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, if we could trace it back to anybody, say we could trace it back to, just pick a country. Like, we traced 9/11 stuff. We couldn't even trace it back to Iraq, of course. But we traced it back to Afghanistan because of the Taliban and the bases, and that's why we went to war. But like all these other random attacks, we can pretty much trace it back to these terrorist groups. But we still just. I don't know. So to me, it's like it's not just some random shit all the time. Like, yeah, they're lone nut jobs that are being taken for a ride by these people, but they are getting kind of like encouragement. Some of them are getting training. Like I think the Boston guys his brother got training on how to make those bombs and stuff when he traveled over there. And the Russians were trying to tell us that this fucker is dangerous. Like, it's just hilarious to me that, you know, these people fall through the fucking cracks, you know.
So you're down with the Russians.
I think that's one of the last things we have in common is killing these fucking extremist nut job.
Well, are you down with the enemy of our enemy is our friend? Because I don't agree with that.
Sometimes. It depends, man.
That can
How
happen.
bad the enemy is.
I'll say the enemy of your enemy is, you know, your ally in the fight, but I won't go so far as to say your enemy of your enemy is your friend, because that doesn't make, you know, that's not logic. What about if we did something more like what Israel would do? If we put the, you know, whoever the people are in charge of Israel in charge of the United States and something happened, I suspect 2 or 3, maybe 5 people would go out and act, and then whoever really started it all, and then the 6 or 8 people it took to find that person who started it all would just not exist anymore, right?
You see, I brought this up
Go ahead.
yesterday, or maybe today. The problem with that right now is the world is facing an enemy without a country. Because if we could isolate who's doing all of this within one nation, that nation would cease to exist in 72 hours.
Right.
It would be late ground zero, no matter
apologize
where
for
it
that.
is. And there would be no apologies for it. It would just be, we found you, we got you, we ended you. It's over. But America can't stomach, the world cannot stomach a fight against an enemy without a flag, without a country. So we have to play this cat and mouse game of trying to find Waldo in the populations of multiple countries, and that just doesn't look good for diplomacy.
Yeah.
Sorry, we have to go in there and eradicate 1/3 of your people. There's going to be some...
I'm just going to add to that, Sean. They do have a flag, but it's a country without borders. And
Yes, there's just too many of them.
Secondly is the reason why they're gaining in popularity, and they have these lone wolves, people, it goes without saying, people love a winner. And regardless of their stance on how they treat women horribly. But as we learned from London, England, there was women who were willing to come all the way from London, England, to join the fight. So people love a winner. And when majority of people, especially them mostly being nut jobs, and people who used to be moderates but saying, hey, now they turn into nut jobs, they're saying, hey, look at the United States, look at the Western culture. They can't handle that. And so in the Middle East, they're going to have, moderates are going to turn into extremists because we can't beat them, join them.
So you're talking about, just to, I guess, fill in folks who might not know what you're talking about, you're talking about people like the White Widow, the woman who was influenced by Al-Qaeda, who joined it, who left England, and those college girls who left England, who joined it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Coincidentally, this guy here who did the shooting yesterday was known to have taken a one-way trip to Jordan and spent 7 months overseas and may have hopped over to Syria, and they're currently investigating to see if he had some outside influence by ISIS or whoever. But that's just influence. I mean, it's going to be brainwashing.
And the weaker this president projects our power, people are just going to be like, you are becoming weak. We need to get with people who are strong. And it's growing. And when they become bolder, there is just a natural instinct in some people to join a winner.
I understand numbers. 350 million people didn't do shit last week, and one guy did. That's growing. That's where we need to act.
Well, it's not just that. They're using social media to get a hold of their sympathizers. It's not one. There's plenty. There's over a dozen.
Well, okay, I think G is saying that 350 million people, as the American population, hasn't acted because right now we live in a society of appeasement, and 350 million people keep getting smacked down by the media for speaking out or taking a stand or something.
Political correctness.
You can't like a flag. You can't burn a flag. You can't speak out on this. You can't pick on brown people. You can't pick on white people. We've been so preconditioned to not speak our minds or take a stance on anything that no one has the balls to do so anymore. And our own commander-in-chief does not have the balls to do so anymore. So he has become a leader of appeasement, and yes, that makes us look weak.
And you know what? England tried to do appeasement with the Nazis. It didn't work.
You're talking about Neville Chamberlain bending over to Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, in London, and the English chose dishonor rather than war.
That's fine, but see, in your example,
Right. Do you guys know history, though? I mean, come on. You're talking with 20/20 hindsight. That is not legit. You can't look backwards and suggest that you knew the proper course of action. If
True.
you're,
Neville
you're
Chamberlain
correct, and America was somehow some better place that we've fallen from, and it was so much better back then, then how the fuck come it took us to get Japan to bomb Pearl Harbor, which we probably knew about ahead of time before we actually did something? Why didn't we say, no, we know what needs to be done, and start fighting Nazis before England did? So I don't agree that it was better back then.
it
I
wasn't
agree
better.
that right now they're trying to manipulate us, and it's our challenge as individuals to understand the manipulations or the potential and to stand strong against it. The easiest way is very rarely the good way, correct? It's usually walking into an ambush.
Well, the biggest difference
Why would
between
we
then
think
and
the
now,
correct way to deal with this situation is the easiest way.
the biggest difference between then and now was Chamberlain met Hitler because he thought that no matter how many concessions he gave, that the worst couldn't possibly happen. His enemy never gave him an indication that there was going to be world conquest. So he made concessions, and he got screwed doing it.
He lived in a world before there was multiple world wars.
Right. And the same thing happened with us in Pearl
To
Harbor.
suggest
We
that
never
you
thought
can
that
do
Japan
a
would have
better
the
course of
audacity.
action then, with our knowledge now, is not legit. That's not sound. It's
That's the thing, though. We thought in World War II that the Japanese, who we thought was a nation of backwards people with little rickshaw boats, couldn't have the means or the audacity to attack a world superpower, and yet they did. See, the difference between then and now is we didn't estimate our enemy correctly. Now we're constantly being force-fed that the enemy hates us and they want to destroy us, and they will do anything and everything in their power to come after us. In World War II, Hitler didn't do that. He said that he wanted to take Austria and he wanted to just unify his people and have national pride or whatever. And Chamberlain bought it and he fell for it and he got screwed for it. We thought that Japan wasn't going to attack and conquer the world. We thought they just wanted some more resources in his region of their region of the world, and they attacked us preemptively to prevent us from trying to stop them. This time, we're facing an enemy who is outright telling us that they hate us and they want to kill us and they want to destroy everything we stand for, and yet here we are trying to appease, everybody else and say, no, don't talk about them because you're just going to provoke them. There's a big difference between then and now. It wasn't better back then. We were just blinder back then. We know who the enemy is now. It's just a matter of finding them and isolating them and eradicating them. And we just need a leader who's got the balls to do it.
And that's the point where I'm coming at, is the leader, our commander-in-chief, is more worried about being PC and appeasing the whole world rather than just saying, hey, call it for what it is.
I forgot when ISIS was getting really strong again over there last year, and it started coming out. Now they've taken all the oil fields. Now they're making, I forgot what it was, the actual dollar amount. It was something ridiculous though, like $5 million a day in oil. And they started growing in numbers, and people were getting excited and wanting to go over there and train with them, wanting to go over there and fight with them. Maybe it would have been different if instead the news stories would have been like, holy crap, America and England and Russia, and they're just blowing these fuckers to pieces every day, badly. And all you would see is just people from the military on TV and stuff saying like, wow, this is really messed up, because we could destroy them pretty easy, but we're basically being told not to. Don't do it so fast, you know, like it's just, you know, their hands were tied behind their back, and you know, forget arming the Kurds and arming the rebels and stuff like that, because Obama's excuse for that was those people, if we give them weapons to fight against ISIS, they're just going to lose, and then those weapons wind up in ISIS's hands, and that's a valid argument, because that's what happened with the Iraqi forces, that's what happened with the Iraqi police. Anything that they, you know, when those people would turn and run or get killed, the ISIS would take the weapons. So why would you arm doctors, lawyers, and dentists and stuff to fight against ISIS when clearly they would lose?
Yeah,
But,
just keep all that bullshit and give nukes to Iran. Good idea.
Didn't the exact same thing happen in the late 70s and early 80s? We gave weapons to the Iraqis to fight their war, and then they turned around and used them against us in the 90s?
yeah, I mean, it happens, right, it happens all the time. So anyway,
Actually, I like
the point is,
90s, so.
stop giving weapons to other people, and you know, it's just, I don't know, it's so complicated, it's way above our pay grade. But you know, I'll tell
let
you
me
that.
run this by you, because I talk politics in my own world with my friends all the time, and they seem to think it's a good idea. But right now, we're in a situation where Russia plays nice, but they don't like us. And the world keeps saying that we keep sticking our noses in everyone's business, and that's why everyone hates us, and that's why people keep attacking Western ideals, because we keep sticking our nose in everyone else's business. Why can't we just have a leader who would sit down one day and call whoever at the time is leading Russia and say, listen, why don't you meet me in Iceland, and I will drink your vodka, and we're going to talk this out. And then he agrees, and you sit down, and this leader talks to that leader, and he says, look, you don't like us sticking your nose in your world affairs on your side of the world. And you claim to be a superpower, and we claim to be a superpower. So why don't we do this? Anything that happens on that side of the Zulu line, on the eastern side of the world, you're the superpower, you handle it. If you need us, give us a call. But in the meantime, you handle that shit. Anything happens on our side of the world, we'll handle it. We won't stick our nose in that business anymore, and you don't stick your nose in our business over here, because you never really have anyway. And that also means that all our foreign aid money doesn't go over there anymore either. You handle it.
Sean, can I say something?
By all means.
I just wanted to compliment you on your icon picture, because it perfectly fits your voice.
Thanks.
I just thought I wanted to say that. It really goes together. I mean, there's some icons that it just doesn't match the person's voice, but I just thought I'd say that.
I appreciate that. Now, I mean, I always joke about running for the presidency someday. My aspirations of politics are next to nothing, but I always thought that it would be great that if we keep claiming to be superpowers, other countries, you know, not just us, then they should have equal responsibility. And if they want to police the world like we want to police the world, give them that half and just say, look, you handle that side, we'll handle this side, and if you need us, give us a call. But you know what? Until you call us, you handle it financially, militarily, whatever. That's your end of the world, this is our end of the world. And if it all works out, that's great. If you need my help, give me a call. If you want to buy my tanks, I'll sell you some. If we want to buy your tanks, send a couple my way. You know, that'll make Russia your biggest ally flat out. Just saying, hey, you handle, you know, Saudi Arabia, you handle the Middle East, you handle whatever. And then when they start attacking them instead of us, they're going to say, how did you handle this, comrade? And we'll just say, hey, man, watch the fucking news.
Well, that's kind of how World War II got going, wasn't it? It wasn't our problem. We just let it all start going down, and then once Japan attacked, then we were in it.
World War II began as an
We didn't supply Japanese with oil. They were using our oil while they were invading China and all the other West Indies.
Well, World
We-
War II
we
began as an
our
itchy
oil.
blanket of communism that we got scared of, and we thought, you know what, we better get involved before England disappears. Because if we didn't get involved during the Battle of Britain, that could have very well happened. Instead of our 8th Air Force being in England, they'd have been stuck in Iceland or Greenland or worse. So we decided to intervene at the time because we were asked to. They said, hey, give us the tools and we'll finish the job. We gave them the tools, they still couldn't finish the job. The tools
Right,
also
we weren't
involved
fully in it,
American
but we got
lives.
attacked. It was more that's their side of the pond, that's their problem kind of thing until it came to our shores, and then, well, fuck that, we're gonna go all in, and that's when.
I think in the very beginning it was dollars and cents. I think we said, hey, here's a good opportunity to make some money selling munitions to everybody else. And then they thought, no, they're going to need us too.
Sean?
We've got some pretty hungry boys wanting to fight.
Sean, I'd just like to add, why don't we just put a McDonald's in some of these countries? Because I have not seen another country go to war who has a McDonald's.
Yeah, I think they
There's
just
McDonald's in China.
idea.
Yeah, exactly. There's a McDonald's in China. What
There is
about, you know, like,
McDonald's in
what about fast food joints? I mean, if that is a great connector, that connects because, you know, you got something in common. Hey, you got a McDonald's and a Burger King, so do we.
If I had a phone call with Vladimir Putin, first of all, I'd tell him, dude, I love your work. If you know the guy himself without his politics and bullshit, he seems like
Is
a
he
pretty
an
cool
artist?
guy. I would just say, look, you have a problem with us trying to do something in Syria, you handle it, okay? Don't ask me to help you. By the way, that's a pretty cool tank you made. Can I buy a few of those? And you're just going to just flatter the shit out of him right there.
It's like going to a shoe store. It's like, hey, you know, that was like you're in a checkout line. Like, hey, I
Well,
like
it's because
those
they keep
shoes. Can I
accusing us
buy
of
your
sticking
shoe?
our nose in their business. And it's like, look, if you could handle your own business, we wouldn't be sticking our nose in it. Why don't you handle it and you call us when you don't know what to do? When enough of your people have died and then you want outside help,
Sean,
then
I
give
want you
me
to
a
be
call.
my neighbor. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Well, come to Texas.
Oh, I'll be more than happy to be your neighbor because I like your philosophy. Hey, you know, I got a problem. I'll buy your car, you buy mine, and you know, we'll switch. And next
Well,
month,
we live in a society and a generation right now where everything is being cut back. Right now, we're still using tanks that were designed in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. They keep getting modified. Yes, no soldier has died in one, but in that time, the Russians have developed 3 generations of main battle tanks that could make ours look like tin cans. The Chinese have developed fighter jets and global killer fighter bombers that make ours look like a joke. And what have we done? We've cut government spending to kill programs like the F-35. You know, we got rid of the cutting edge technology because we still think a bomber made in 1952 can handle the job.
No,
Hey,
we didn't
Sean,
cut
are you from
government
Austin?
funding. We cut all the military funding. Government funding is still through the fucking roof.
Well, I know, but they're just cutting programs for the new, and they're
Yeah.
relying on the old.
Hey, Sean, are you from Austin?
Yeah, it's bottom of the
Houston.
barrel.
Houston?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It sounded like you were from Austin.
I'm not blue. No.
Yeah, okay. I thought your personality sounded like you're from Austin.
Sorry. I'm not blue. Not quite red either, but I'm not blue.
I'm blue, da-ba-dee-bee-dee-da.
They're saying that Texas is slowly turning purple, and that kind of scares me a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. What does red and purple make? Isn't it like a beige?
Well, we've got red states and blue states, and for some reason, because of our capital, they're saying that our state's turning purple, and I don't like that.
Oh, I like the purple cobras from Dodgeball.
See, the strange thing is I live in a city that's called the most northern city in the South. I live in Houston, and they say that everything that happens out here is very New England-like. The way we
Really?
act, conduct business, the way we handle our politics and whatnot. Strangely enough, though, we've got a blue mayor, and she seems okay, so I don't judge her or anything. I'm
Oh,
trying
do you
to
guys
do
play
a
that
good
song?
job.
I'm blue. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you go, I'm blue, da-ba-dee-bee-da. I love that song. I'm blue. Blue his house with the blue.
All right.
He gets no one
That'll be
to
enough.
listen.
Enough of that, Nick.
Well, I'm just saying, come on, man. We're all talking about war and politics. I thought I'd throw a little humor, and it didn't work. That's what happens when you throw a crescent wrench into a machine, and
It was a nice try.
it was, and I can't get over Sean's icon, how it goes well with his voice. So I'm sorry, guys.
It's actually my in-game gamer tag. I've been using it for like 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
How does
And then
my
I
icon?
thought when I do when I start doing YouTube videos, then I thought, oh, I can use the theme song. I can't because of
Oh.
copyright restrictions or whatnot. Unless I use the one from 1962. If I can get away with that, I'm gonna use it.
I was thinking about using like a South Park icon or something, but I said that gets overused and that'd be too bro-ish. So I decided to go with this, a simple yet definitive kind of icon. So
This
I-
came from an artist on I want to say Imgur, but I saw it and I was like, oh, can you draw me this? And they were very gracious enough to do that. So.
oh, DBZ left the group, man. No way. Come on, this is very informative and very relaxing and very therapeutic conversation we're having here. But
That was DB.
oh, DB. All right. Well, okay. Has anybody got anything they want to add? Because I've been running at the mouth, and apparently I'm not going anywhere with that. So.
Well, tomorrow I'm going to break the bank. I'm going to my local. I couldn't make it on the end of the workday today because it's an hour away. But I'm going to go pick up 100 rounds of 500 Magnum brass. Pretty excited.
Okay.
And 100 rounds of 535 grain full metal jackets.
Wow.
That are going to go in those, and I'll be loading them all day tomorrow.
Oh my God. Guess who I'm seeing? You ever seen Lost Boys?
Yes.
You remember the mother of the two boys? Corey, was it Haim, and the other guy that looked like he could be like Bon Jovi's twin brother? Well, it's like she's here. She's actually in this new comedy called Life in Pieces. I was like, oh my God, I was wondering what the hell ever happened to her. I thought she was a great actress. I'm just saying. And then there's a Mark Wahlberg in Blue Buds, his brother. It's like, God, please stop, Wahlbergs. Can't get an. It's Wahlberg overdose. Sean,
Yes.
I was just saying. Are you a Wahlberg? Are you a big fan of the Wahlbergs?
Not the reality show. I'm not a fan of reality TV in general.
I'm not the reality show, but their acting capabilities within.
That's getting pretty far off of guns already.
Oh, I'm just saying. I mean, I just.
He will
thought
mute us, and he will stream AM radio if we do that. Just
Okay, I was just trying to ask a quick answer to a quick question.
Hey, G, how close are we to Edge's chat? It's 10 o'clock Eastern already.
It's 10, did he say 10:30 Eastern or 10 Eastern? Is it 10 Eastern already?
It's 10:12 Eastern right now.
You might have said-
Here's a question for you guys. G-Webs, you can answer this. What is the favorite kind of music or song you like to listen to before you go to the gun range or during the gun range? Is there like a favorite song you like to listen to before you go to hit the gun range?
Ooh.
No, not really. It
Not
says
really?
10 p.m. Central, so I guess I have in 40 minutes still.
I'm
Oh,
kind of
wow.
new hat for that. I like to, well, my mom is 64, my dad's 80, and anytime I give them a ride anywhere, they say that my car sounds like I'm listening to Getaway Drivers music, basically drum and bass or dubstep. So usually on the way to the range, some form of that is on a flash drive in the car as I'm driving. So
Oh, okay.
I guess that would be it.
I usually go with Ted Nugent's Fred Bear, or I might go like Rage Against the Machine, or maybe I might go Hank Williams Jr. or Hank
That's
Williams.
not cliche at all, is it?
Whoa, no way, come on. Hey, little Hank Williams or something? That's not cliche. I mean, I thought that those are great songs that I like to listen to. I might listen to Slipknot before I go, but
That'll
it's
work.
it's primarily like Ted Nugent's Fred Bear.
That will work.
That's a song I like to listen to before I go to the gun range. I think it goes like hand to hand, like lemon lime, like Bumble to the Bee.
So how come Dano changed his name?
Where's Dano?
He's just in time now.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll tell you what.
People know, so that's why you keep saying off here.
Edge's reminder says 10 p.m. So either YouTube gives me the reminder time in my time format, or he's 15 minutes slightly behind.
I just want to. Isn't it kind of funny?
Oh, it is. It's
with-
in my time zone. It's going to be another
Okay.
45 minutes.
I was just gonna say, Shine. Wanted to. Don't you think it's kind of funny with the P320, which I own? When you hear the commercials for it from Sig Sauer, they say it's built with the mind of law enforcement, you know, and yet it has no like safeties, like external safeties like a thumb. But in the military, if you develop one for the military, you got to have like a thumb safety, and it's got to be like, you know what I mean? That's one of the things I just noticed like a couple of days ago. Is that the two different concepts between making a handgun for the police departments and then the military? Because like the military, they want an all steel is what they're kind of getting at, and as opposed to the police officers, police departments and law enforcement, that's not so much a main concern. Kind of
The
get what
one
I'm
thing
trying to
I
say?
know about the military is they technologically, when it comes to like forms, regulations, weapon systems for your infantry, they're a bit behind compared to your civilian market in a way.
Yeah,
What
I
I
understand
mean
where
is-
you're getting at that. I
It
understand.
has to be built,
Mhm.
engineered, and serviceable by the lowest common potato peeler for the military. Like, just look at the forms you fill out when you take your ASVAB test.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I had to do
retarded.
that.
It looks like it's still printed from the 1960s. I took
Oh,
that
yeah.
ASVAB test in 1997. It still looks the same today.
Oh my God, we're about the same age. I took mine in 1996 and then 98. No, yeah, I did it in 98 because I had a low score. But even then, it doesn't, like, a lot of it, it's like they still rely on that where to put people.
You want to
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
something really absurd? I scored a 94 on that, and they still couldn't give me the job I wanted.
Yeah. And you know what's funny, though, is, like, the people, like, when I went through Navy boot camp that scored higher than me, like, in your range, they were incompetent when it came to basic mechanics or functions or stuff like that. It was just, I would say, what are you getting into? I mean, they were just so I understand where you're getting at perfectly. It's like they're behind on where to put people. It's kind of like they're relying on old testing scores and all, and it's like they're not really catching up with the times of how to put people in.
Well,
And
the placement's not the problem. Like, when I originally took the test and signed up, it was they had too many, and there was a wait. So I get that. Now they're paring back a bit, and the thing that stayed the same is the testing, the forms, the procedure, even the weapons systems. My friend's baby mama, I guess is the best way to put it.
oh, you can use baby
She was a
mama.
quartermaster, and even she told me, she said that, she spent time in Iraq, she spent time in Afghanistan,
Mhm.
she knew to restrict ammo in certain sidearms and things like that from the people she knew wasn't going to see any action, and she gave the extras to the people she knew that would. But she always said the same thing. Every time she walked in the armory, she felt like she looked in a Cold War locker. She was like,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is just, outdated, antiquated. Some of these
Oh
things
my
were put
God,
together
it's
by
funny that
5
you
different
mentioned
weapons
that.
that somebody stripped apart and
Oh,
put one working one together.
Sean, I'm just saying it's funny that you mentioned that because I was about to say the same thing. Our armory, we still had like 1950s, 60s, early 60s M14s, these long rifles. I mean, that rarely had seen any action, and just sitting there, and like the helmets were from Vietnam era. And this was in the 1990s. Okay, I understand people say, well, budget constraints, all that, but it's like, it doesn't get spent where it should be. And like, you're using these long, elongate. I mean, M14s, which if you were to maneuver around a ship or anything, you could not. It's such a big and oversized rifle for what needs to be done, like boarding ships and everything. I understand where you're getting at. It's like World War II, Korea.
I've got a real soft spot for the M1A with the.
I know,
SOCOM chop
but I'm
mod,
just.
so I can't really
I'm just
comment
saying.
on that too much.
I know, but I'm just. It's just.
That's totally on my to build list. So.
Oh, I know, but I was just trying to add on to what you were saying earlier, and.
But I mean, the thing about the thumb safeties and all, the military wants the dumbest potato peeler to be able to use, function, and at least field strip and service. So they're going to over-engineer things to a degree. Like I think it was here somewhere that I heard a chat about mil-spec and the obsession with mil-spec and how people seem to obsess over it. And they keep forgetting that mil-spec just basically means good enough, that it met a certain requirement by the military to do what it needed to do enough to where it wouldn't scare them off and buy the contract. Because you have to remember, anything built, used, and serviced by the military is just like a car. It was built and serviced by the lowest bidder. It was just good enough to pass what they asked for.
Yeah, that's why they go with that saying, mil-spec specifications. These are our specifications and how we want.
It's a good guideline. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Oh no, I'm not saying that, but I'm just trying to add on that's a data point. It's
like I think the perfect example of the opposite of mil-spec would be Kel-Tec. That's a perfect example. Mil-spec is good enough. Kel-Tec, not so much.
Yeah, Kel-Tec is killed tech. But I just what I was just trying to add is this: I love the M14 and all that stuff, right? I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong, but I was just saying it's just like if you'd see the weaponry. I mean, the military spends its money on high gadgets, which is understandable, but they need to equipment like what a personnel person would carry. They need to get with the times. Is what I'm trying to say.
I just got a friend who was medically discharged. He spent his 16 years, I think it was, and they broke his back basically and said, "Thank you for your service. Here's your paperwork. Good luck." Which is pretty wrong. But before he left, he was saying that when he had checkpoint and roadblock duty, things were starting to get interesting because, at the time there would be, I think it was 7 people at a roadblock. You'd have several with M4s. You'd have a couple of guys with 240 Bravos, and then you'd have a guy pretty much in a Humvee with a Mod Deuce on the roof. And he said that it got to the point where it was 2 guys with M4s, 2 guys with 240 Bravos, the guy with the Mod Deuce on the roof. But then he also said there was 2 guys with AR Beowulfs, and he was like, yeah, that was a pretty interesting time. He said they just started to get it out there.
Yeah. But I was just, I understand there's certain things that are out of the, can't be controlled, and with budget issues and supply and resources, logistics, so on. But I get into heated arguments with people saying, I say I agree with you that the military does overspend on things, but I said to a personnel level, to the individual personnel, like the infantry, I always tell them that that's where they're lacking. They're not. People say, well, you don't think they're spending enough? I don't think they're spending enough in a particular area of the Defense Department.
Personally, I don't think they're overspending at all, because if you look at what they're using and how old the technology of a good portion of their equipment that they're using is, and then you look at how we take care of our troops afterwards, or what we're paying them while they're in, we're underspending. Where is all that money going? Because the soldiers aren't getting it. The technology is not exactly there. I mean, it's better than it was. I mean, we've
Oh,
got
yeah,
GPS
yeah,
and all
yeah.
that other
But I'm
good shit,
just, but you understand where I'm just trying to get at is that there's particular areas like, well, I'm not saying that, when people say, just to cool the argument down to like, try to play, on both sides. But for me, I'm right there with you. I don't think they're spending enough. But for me, I would like them to spend a little bit more on the soldiers' equipment and everything rather than, I understand where they need to spend and they need to be at least 20 years ahead of certain countries in order to stay legit. But there's that area of personnel that they need to like update and upgrade.
we're behind when it comes to tanks. We're behind when it comes to planes, except maybe the B-2. Um, we're definitely, I think we're on par when it comes to infantry weapons to a degree. I think we're okay there.
Yeah, I
But
think we're okay.
when it comes to, say, logistics and strategic weapons, we're definitely behind. We just started releasing I think there's 3 new destroyers that we're building, which is great. I mean, the Navy needs their hardware. That's great. But the Russians have a plane called the Global Killer. We have
Oh,
nothing
really?
like it.
See, now
Nothing.
wait a minute. I would not go with Global Killer. That's kind of like a
Well, that's the
garage
name.
band name.
It's
That's like
the
a garage
name
band
they
name.
got.
I would go with something like Stratus or Stratus or something like Mercedes names their car like a European auto manufacturer, like maybe like the Comet
Well,
or
it's the name they
the
got.
de
And the
Havilland. De
Chinese,
Havilland.
not following too far behind, they
Global
released a
Killer.
plane that looks like they took a Eurofighter Typhoon and the Raptor, and those two had a baby, and that's what the Chinese created. And
I would have called it
it's fucking
Optimus
amazing.
Prime, or kind of like Megatron or something. I would not call it Global Killer. It's like what a garage band for high school teens would call their band, Global Killer. Like,
I think
oh,
the last really cool thing that the Russians put out, they called it the Black Shark. It was a helicopter. It was gorgeous.
like Cher gorgeous or like Kate Upton gorgeous.
Like Charlotte McKinney gorgeous.
Ooh,
It was interesting.
Gorgeous, is that a real thing?
Yes.
yeah.
Black Shark, Charlotte McKinney, gorgeous.
Oh my God! You just came up with a stage name, Black Shark McKinney. Oh,
Stone
wow.
Guy approved.
Yeah, Black Shark McKinney. Doesn't that go together?
It'll work.
Black Shark McKinney? Oh, I love that. That's like that. Now that's a band name. No, not. I don't want to say band name because that sounds. It wouldn't fly in the punk rock band world. But Black Shark. Well, maybe it would. Black Shark McKinney. I'm gonna have to save that. Can I use that, Sean?
If you want, man, make the
All right,
logo.
thanks, brother. I just wanted to ask first. When I use it, I don't want to be like, hey, man, this guy's using something I came up with. Or, I mean, I don't know. I probably, I'm just not used to you, so I just wanted to ask. Black Shark McKinney. I have to write that down. Like, I would have called an airplane like Fanta. The Fanta. No, Fanta Falcon. Falcon's been used too many times. The Mammoth. See, now that's something that's not used a lot. I mean, Falcon, the Wolf, Sea Wolf. Wolf is so old, though, I'm kind of like, I'm done with everything being named Wolf or Shark. I want them like Mammoth or the Devourer or something. Not something that's like late 80s, early 90s action folklore.
But Wolf's still hunting packs, dude.
Yeah, I know,
Oh, hey,
I know.
Flash,
So
what's
did the
going
Mammoth. The Mammoths, well, they were in packs. What about the Hyena?
Now,
Or-
you see, I thought what would be really cool is Bill Alexander gave us the Grendel and they gave us the Beowulf. And in the natural progression of things, he should give us the Mjolnir. Mjolnir? Yeah. He should come up with an AR platform 12 gauge and call it the Mjolnir. Just go all out,
Yeah. Well, what about a rooster? Do you think that would make a great name for like Rowdy Rooster?
No,
Like for
because then
like.
every country in the world would just say, "Hey, you're holding a cock." Can't have that.
That's true. That's like naming
It's not
something Bart.
intimidating.
Yeah, it's Bart Fire and all that. I understand. But what about the Strider? See? No, that's pretty cool. Or the Lazarus, or
Yeah.
because I'm just saying I'm tired of things being called Seawolf, Wolf,
Boots.
Beowulf.
Where's your LCR?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Tell me it came in.
Foos, did you pick up your LCR today? Did you take delivery of that little thing?
So, what is the general topic for tonight?
Everything.
Everything, but nothing late 80s or early 90s.
That's a general topic.
Started out as a gun chat lobby, and then
Okay, I just got this 357,
Yes.
and I have some Hornady Critical Defense Plus B, and then I have some Federal Premium 357. What is a 357 and another Plus B that is made for short barrels?
Okay, so my LCR,
you already got
I'm
the critical.
currently shooting through it. In 357, I'm just using good old-fashioned Winchester white box, 110 grain jacketed hollow points. They tend to work pretty good. They're a bit stout. After about 20 rounds, your hand is going to hurt. For 38 plus P, I'm currently using, let me grab the box, because I have the exact same revolver. I love it.
Yeah, I just got this in today.
Okay, so my 38 plus Ps are 125 grain semi-jacketed hollow point Remington, and these tend to be pretty good. These are the ones I carry every day. They're not what I would call soft shooting, but they are softer than 357. Plenty powerful, nice deep hollow point, very, very effective round. This thing eats melons all day long. Love them.
Yeah, I'm going to
And-
take this out tomorrow morning. It'll be my second time ever shooting a wheel gun. So.
Yeah, when I heard you the other day talk about it, I was like, oh, he's in my world because I own 6 wheel guns. So this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, Foos, you were talking about getting an XS Big Dot on that, but they're discontinued. You can
Really?
Still, yeah, you can still get the standard dot though.
I have one on the way.
Yeah, I bought one that's just sitting there. I never put it on.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, I got one from Midway, one of their last ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had a standard dot on my LCRX, and it's way better than the black.
And
Yeah,
then I had
that black ramp
You
is.
don't have to associate with people with standard dots, but I'll make an exception since you're awesome.
this one came with the white front blade.
Ah, you got the fancy one. See, mine just got the regular one.
Yeah, I just had black.
This was made June 3rd.
That's a 1 for 1%er.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. But
Yours
yeah,
is the special one.
and then I went ahead and made 40 38 special rounds.
You used your 9mm coateds, didn't you?
Blue
Yes, I
tip
did.
was dangerous.
Yeah, I used my 9mm. They're 120 or 124 grains.
Yeah, I loaded up those. I still haven't done a review of them yet, just because I haven't had any range time. But I got this new company out in Louisiana. It's called Swamp Popper Bullets. I think I told you about them, where they polymer coated them.
Now, I've heard of Bayou bullets from down there.
I'm hoping to stretch the legs out on these things. They're interesting looking, and I saw the demonstration. Like, I went to the local, and she took one out, put it on an anvil, and smashed it with a sledgehammer, and the coating didn't crack, but the lead did.
Yep, that is exactly how this powder coat works. They'll flatten the bullet out. The powder coat will stay on.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that.
So, yeah, I went ahead and made 40 of them up. I think that'll be enough. And then I'll put maybe a cylinder around with each one of these,
Oh yeah.
just to feel the difference.
Yeah, you can get your point of aim on those 357s are going to be wildly different. I mean, that is like taking use those 38s to those 357s, it's like taking a baby off of breast milk and straight to scotch. I mean, it is shocking. That tamer is there, but it doesn't really work.
Yeah, I'm gonna, and then as I'm grabbing it, I'm gonna try to have this kind of hold. So my thumb, because if I hold it the way I normally, it's that Hogue, or it's a Hogue tamer.
Let me see this profile. I mean, yeah, that's the same one.
Yeah, you've got the 357 one too, right?
Yeah, I thought maybe even a different grip now or something.
Nope.
It's just every gun I have, every wheel gun I own has a tamer on it, and that one by far is the weakest for cushioning on the back strap out of all of them. But
oh damn, it's less than a pound gun. What do you expect? Shooting 357s?
it's stout.
Yeah.
So what I'd end up doing when I shoot them is I do what I do for pistols on all pistols, and then when I hold revolvers, I make sort of like two fists. So I don't try to modify a pistol grip as much as I just try to think black and white pistol revolver.
You wrap the offhand around your main.
I try. Yeah, I don't use
that's how
my
I do it.
offhand to hold it because there's nothing to hold on to. Everything hurts.
Exactly.
So I don't try to hold it. I just hold my other hand basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're kind of like this.
Yeah, almost like that.
No, not well. Without my thumb up there, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's almost like
Because every time I do, my revolvers are all too small, and I start blowing my thumb off. So I do that more, what you just did last there.
Foos,
Like,
I
more
do
like-
that
it
cross
feels
thumb
to me
thing
like
you
I'm
did the first
putting
time.
my hand into my left hand is like a fist basically, and I'm pushing my right fist through my other fist sort of.
Mm-hmm.
But then that way I think of like revolvers, like no thumbs, pistols, all thumbs.
Have you gotten used to staging that thing yet?
No, I just got it about 6 hours ago.
It takes a little bit of finesse. I'll admit
I just did
cooked
it.
up
I just
down
did it.
rate trying to stage it, but you'll get used to it. It only
Yeah,
takes about
there's like a cam in it,
yeah.
and you can
That's
feel the cam right there,
Yep.
and then it's real light.
If you're in a really quiet room, you can hear 2 clicks before it goes off.
yeah,
It'll stage twice. You can hear it.
Yeah, but you're not going to try staging that like a Glock. If you try shooting that like a Glock, you'll fuck your shit up. Like, you'll get all out of tune and stuff. Like, just, you jerk a revolver more. Or at least I think of it. I mean, we're not really jerking it, but compared to, like, the take up and then break on a Glock, you don't want to start trying to do that shit on a revolver.
Yeah, this gun, I mean, it's going to be a belly gun. Maybe 10 yards is going to be about as long as I'm going to shoot it. So I don't think I need to stage it.
You said that was going to be your left-hander, right?
Yeah, I'm going to try to have it in my left-hand pocket.
Yeah, that's the way I've got mine too. I carry that one left appendix, or sorry, like I guess 7 o'clock, and then my EDC carry is my night guard hip holster. So I always tell people 14 rounds of 357 is pretty hard to argue with. But I dig it.
made it piss him off, Sean. He just bailed.
I know, right? As soon as I mentioned the night guard, he just felt inferior.
No. I went up to kill my camera, and right above it is a bookmark, and I accidentally hit the bookmark. So, yeah, it's going to be my left one, in my left pocket.
Yeah.
On my right hip is my Smith & Wesson MP9C. So. So like the majority of this gun is going to be shot left-handed.
You're probably going to lean towards them 38 plus Ps then. Especially as a backup too,
Yeah.
Like I've got the same Winchester 357s in my night guard and the LCR, but if push comes to shove, when I run out of those 357s, I'll probably just keep the 38 plus Ps in the LCR. But this night guard, it's end frame and it's got a tamer on it, so I mean, full house 357s are no big deal.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm kind of. I can't wait to shoot these 357s and see what. They're 158 grain Hydra Shock.
Do you got some meaty hands? Pretty meaty hands?
That's what I carry.
Fairly, yeah.
101.
I give you 25 rounds before you put that thing down.
Well, this is 20 rounds of it. So.
You probably, if you go through that whole box, you'll be fine. But...
Oh, I'm not going to, because these are going to be in personal defense. I don't want to sit here and just
burn through them.
Right, because this ammo itself is almost $50 for these 2 boxes, so I don't want to do that. Whenever I could shoot my own shit, and I could hop mine up pretty good. So.
Yeah, you can load up your hand loads about pretty close to what those things are going to do, and get used to the feeling.
Yeah, I was looking at the plus P rating versus normal rating for 38 and the powder I'm using.
Yeah.
It's 0.1 grain difference.
That's it?
That's it.
Mine was like 2.5 grains difference.
Then I must be looking at it wrong.
Well, let me go grab my load card real quick because I've got all my stuff right here.
Yeah, the book that I use is right here. And I'm getting a Lyman book in the mail. Should be in tomorrow. This is a Lee book, so.
Yeah, my 49th edition is like my Bible. All right.
Okay, right now I am using SR 7625.
Oh God, we're gonna bore the shit out of G. Sorry ahead of time. So I'm using 2 different powders. Like my standard 38 is 4.6 grains of unique, and it's doing just about 810 feet per second. And my plus P loads, I'm using 5 grains of tight group, so it's only 0.4 grain difference, but it's a different powder, different burn, very, very different grain. And I'm getting 1,069 feet out of the tight group.
Damn. Okay.
Good stuff.
So it says I usually load for 125 grains, since mine usually goes up to about 124. Mm-hmm. So that's from 4.6 to 5.2 grains in this book.
Yeah.
For 38 special, and then plus P, you're looking at 4.6 to 5.2. But this is a Lee book, and I know it's really, it's very conservative.
They say that, or a lot of people say that, and then you open the first page of the Lee book, and or the Lyman book, and it's like, these are not conservative ratings.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, this is a Lee book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only running 0.4 of a grain difference between my regular and plus P's, but it is
okay.
2 different powders.
Look at your SR 7625 for 125 grain, and what is it loaded to? Because today I loaded 5 grains, or 4.9 and 5 grains, because that's what I loaded in my 9mm. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wait, that's in this. So I just dumped it into a 9mm, just like normally, and then dumped it into these cases. So I didn't have to sit there and weigh them out each time.
You said 125?
Yeah, my bullets come out about 123, 124 usually.
All right, so for 4756 it says 4.8.
No, 7625.
Ooh. 4.0 to 5.0. For regular pressure. It doesn't even give me a plus P rating.
See, this has 4.6 to 5.2. I'm doing 5.
For standard?
Yeah, for 125 grain lead bullet.
Yeah, see, this one only gave me 120 grain. For 125 jacketed hollow point, it doesn't even give me that powder.
Okay. Yeah, and then I have a whole bunch of 800X left over, and I'm going to see if I can't find something that works for that. So I could use a different powder for that, because I don't want to use all my 9mm powder for my 38s.
Yeah. See, Dano would have loved this topic.
But yeah, I'm going to go out and shoot it tomorrow. And I mean, he used to reload too.
I've got 4 hours tomorrow that I hope to hell my local calls me and says, "Excuse me, sir, I know it's been 7 days. We apologize for the delay, but your 500 Magnum has come in, and you can come pick it up at any time. Oh,
What-
by the way, your 700 grain bullets are here too." Yes!
What state do you live in?
Texas.
And it's 7 days?
I don't know where the distributor was for this thing, but it's been 7 days. Or 6 days. Tomorrow to be the 7th day.
Holy shit.
It's not a normal 500, though. It's one of their special ones.
I have been dry firing this straight with my left hand. And right as that break, that nose goes everywhere.
Yeah, it takes a bit of getting used to. Like, as soon as I bought that, I was dry fire practicing, learning how to stage it. I think I probably played with it for about 6 weeks. And immediately after I had a couple of range sessions with it, I wrote Ruger, and I'm like, you guys make an LCR-X in 38 plus P, and you guys need to make an LCR-X for the 357. However, make it special. Put a groove on the back strap where you can screw in a paddle to go single action if you want to, and unscrew it so it's not in the way if you want to conceal it for double action. And they wrote me back within like 2 days, and they were like, "That is such a great idea. We'll look into that." I'm like, wow, cool.
So the X means that you could have single or double action?
The X
As a
denotes
hammer.
an exposed hammer.
Okay.
But if you notice on the back of yours, it's kind of like, it looks like a dog taking a poo. It's got that rounded back.
Yep.
Well, I told them to take that design, cut a groove down the back of that, so you can screw in like a titanium paddle or something. So you can cock it if you wanted to. But if you don't, you can take that off and then just have it like what you've got right there.
Gotcha.
So I guess they could call it the LCR-X convertible or something. I don't know. It was just an idea I was playing with, and they thought it was a really good idea. So, SHOT Show
Surprised somebody
2016.
Surprised somebody hasn't come out with something like that for the LCR-X, like a cover that just covers the hammer, so you can make it double action only.
Problem with that is
Pop
the
it
only
off.
LCR-X right now is 38 plus P.
And it might just pop off, but I was thinking something that just snaps on.
Or somehow attaches to the grip.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, the cover? Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
So it could be basically this, or you could take it off.
Yeah, I mean, right after I bought it, I thought that. I was like, oh, why couldn't they do this? So I wrote it.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to go out and shoot this tomorrow. I'm also going to take my my CZ out.
Tomorrow for me, it'll be a supply run, followed by a range day. I'll probably take the LCR, the Night Guard, and probably just the 686.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have to work tomorrow night. So.
And I'm currently on the lookout for the Hogue Tamer grip from the 500 ES, so I can swap that over.
How's it going, Dirt Dart?
Hey, good. How's it going?
Evening.
Pretty good.
So, Foos, you picked that up on lunch break or something? You didn't get a chance to shoot it yet?
No, I picked it up as soon as I got in town from traveling this week. I was out in Colorado.
Yeah.
And I got in, and on the drive down, I texted my friend that works at the gun store, and she's like, "Yep, it's in." So,
Be there as soon as I can. Okay.
well, I've been tired. I got tired, in town, but being on the road for since Sunday. So,
I bought mine through Facebook. One of the locals out here, he did a promotional deal, and I guess maybe it sat on the shelf a bit too long. So he just posted it up on the Gun Trader on Facebook one day, and he was like, 515 drive out will include ammo and a case. And I thought, wow. So I went over there, and he wrote up the ticket, so it was only about $465-ish. And, after the fees and everything, he matched it to 515. I didn't complain at all. That was a great deal.
Yeah, this was 530 out of the door.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good deal.
Yeah, for brand new. So.
Yeah, 38
Does yours have a lock?
It has a padlock, but it didn't have a key for the one in the grip. I haven't taken the grip off yet.
If yours doesn't have a key, that's what I was going to tell you. If it didn't come in the packaging, yours doesn't have the lock underneath the grip, because that was the first thing I asked the guy. I'm like, where's the key? All the reviews I watched, they showed a key. And he says, well, this one didn't come with one. So we took the grip off, and sure enough, there was no lock cylinder behind the grip.
All right, I'm going to check it out right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a good thing right there. Why the hell would you put a lock under the grip?
Yeah, it was like, what was the point of that? Oh, I've got the children. Let me take the grip off, lock it, put the grip back on, and when someone kicks down my front door, I'll just ask them to wait a couple minutes.
Hold on, I gotta find a flathead.
Yeah. Yeah, put down that Glock, dude. You wouldn't happen to have brought a multi-tool with you, did you?
Oh, I didn't even know those had locks on them.
Yeah. Yeah, I did probably about 3 months of just review watching and reading before I pulled the trigger, so to speak, on getting one. And the only reason I bought it was because I couldn't find this 327, because they stopped making these, and it was like my White Elk revolver. So I'm like, screw it, I want a 357, I'll buy the LCR. And literally a week after I bought it, this Night Guard came up for sale. So I bought that too. I was like, screw it.
Attaboy.
And I bought it from the owner of the shop that sold me my 629 competitor 3 years earlier. And he had it back then. Yeah, see, you don't have the lock on yours either. You're good to go.
Oh, shit, that looks nothing like. Throw that back up to it.
So basically, yours is the newest rendition.
Okay.
Mine's the middle one without the lock. Because yours has that groove in the front sight. Mine doesn't have that. But mine's also without the lock. You said you've got like that little white mark on the front ramp?
Yeah.
So mine doesn't have
It's
that.
serrated. Hold on.
I'm pretty sure my LCRX came with a key.
Yeah.
See, like, the first LCR 357 has a fully serrated ramp and a lock. Mine has a
There
fully
you go.
serrated ramp and no lock. And then now yours has that and no lock.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, this was made in June. So.
Huh.
Oh, question, by the way. This is kind of funny. Does yours come with the test cartridge?
Yes.
Did you reload it?
No.
I reload
Why?
all my test cartridges. I'm like, screw it, it's mine. I own it.
Oh, so do I. I just haven't yet. And I will show you why I have not. Well, I try to put it into the cylinder and it won't go.
Did they paint the whole back red like a
Yes.
monkey's ass?
Yes.
Yeah, mine was too.
Well, you know why they do that is because they load them to a higher pressure than just
Yeah, they wanted to see like the pressure signs on it.
right.
But see, what's really funny is my Ruger Alaskan in 454, that wasn't painted, and that's a bit higher pressure than that. They
Yeah.
went all out for that one. They used Starline 454 brass for that one. Yep, mine looked just like that. Is it Federal?
BHA proof.
Oh, see, mine was a
357
Federal.
mag. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, but
Yep.
if you get a 454,
There you go.
pretty much at the highest pressures you can get for a 45, right?
And you can see the pressure on that head
Yeah.
for that straight line.
Well, it's not shroomed too bad or anything, though. I'm not
Oh, heck
primer.
no. No. It still has a good dimple in it. But
Yeah, I was telling
it's-
people that when they ask what 454 Casull is, I tell them, I'm like, think of it as 45 Long Colt Magnum.
So it just doesn't fit. Even
It's
I
just
could
bulged
push
out.
it down. No, I could push
Okay.
it down and it fits. But like
Tight.
it's extremely tight. Like hitting it, it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
coming out.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have some fun sizing that down. But then my hand loads,
Yep. Drop right in.
so
Bada.
Bam. Oh, that's fucking sweet.
and then of course as I was getting the bullet depth and everything, I now have 5 dummy rounds.
Did you forget to put the primers in?
No.
Or you just did it on purpose?
Yep. That's how I that's how I have my dummy rounds. No primers.
Hmm.
So I can tell them the difference real quick.
Oh, yeah.
That and I'll eventually. I'm actually all out of this blue powder. So and a buddy of mine, he's going to be ordering me some orange, like a sample pack, and the orange is coming in it. So I'm thinking about shooting this LCR with orange bullets.
That's actual powder coat, right? That's not paint or anything.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's powder coated.
Do you have to, like, resize your cast bullets slightly smaller for that powder coat?
I size the cast bullet. I size the cast bullets after the powder coat. So I go from dropping them, and I powder coat them, then I size them.
That's
Now
a
I'm-
dense load.
What?
That's a dense load, squishing all that lead down.
Not really. I could barely even notice pushing these down. What I'm thinking about doing for this one is not sizing them for my 357.
Mhm.
Since they're a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about just having them casted and then powder coating them and not doing anything with them.
Yeah, just squeeze bore them down.
Yeah. So. Yep. That's gonna be a fun gun.
You say that tomorrow, you're going to be like, oh, those 357s hurt my left hand. I'm like, I know.
It doesn't matter. It's gonna be a fun gun. All guns are fun. Come on.
Absolutely.
My shield was not fun. I was hopeless with that thing, which is why it's gone. I don't know. I've met 2 types of people with MMP shields. Those who like the trigger and those who just can't work the trigger. And I'm that one.
So, to give you guys a little bit of a synopsis of my personality, in case you haven't noticed it already, this is at the top of Pikes Peak.
Are you mounting a ram?
Yes.
Nice.
I noticed the RAM is not resisting. Code
Yeah.
He exercised his right to remain silent.
Yeah, that was yesterday. So.
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I went up there with 3 coworkers, and one was drinking on the way up and on the way down. Another one took 5 or 6 shots of Maker's Mark at the top. So,
Jesus, and then you ended up driving home?
actually, another buddy of mine did.
Oh, Duke brought up a good point. He's absolutely right.
But
Chiappa Rhinos make 357s very
Yes, they
comfortable
do.
to shoot.
ooh,
Absolutely.
I can see that.
But they have a really nasty habit of having the cylinders explode. My local had 3 explode in 18 months. And they
Wow.
use factory loads. They don't use hand loads over there. So when they got the 4th one as a replacement for their rental fleet, they just
They
sold
sold
it
it?
instantly. Yeah. It's a real shame, too, because the 6-inch white Rhino was definitely on my to-do list. But just the explosions kind of scare me a bit.
Yep.
I'll just save my money and get a Kunin.
Oh, those would be sweet.
Well, what's really unfortunate is we had this range about 20 minutes from me. They made the news several times because the guy who owned it used to put these like anti-Obama slogans on his marquee sign. And at first they were really funny, but then I guess the city got annoyed by him, and then he went bankrupt, and then he sold out. But before he went bankrupt, he had a Coonan for rental, and he had a really nice habit of selling his rentals if you offered him the right amount of money. Well, I went up there to offer him money for the Coonan, but it was already too late because he already filed for bankruptcy, and someone came and bought it that day.
Oh, damn.
So someone
Coonan
bought it right
Classic.
before you.
Yeah, Coonan Classic. He sold it for $1,000.
I have no idea what that means.
Think of a 1911 that shoots 357 Magnums.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
That means
That.
blasphemy.
It's a thing of beauty.
Now, could that shoot through 38 as
Yes.
well?
Yeah, it'll do 38 specials, 38 plus Ps, and 357s. Chambers of no problem. I rented it twice. I fell in love with it. Yes, it is that shop out in Katy. Or was that shop out in Katy. Now Boyard owns it, but it's been closed for the last 4 months for, quote, renovations. I mean, it was a brand new facility, and they're renovating it anyway.
Got to get the old funk out of it.
I guess so. Boyard's the only place in my area that'll let me shoot 50, so I have to wait for that place to open or go to another one that's like almost an hour away.
That's an indoor range, I take it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
AC range.
No, most of the places around here are like no magnums. 357? Nope. Can't do that. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You built the indoor range, but you can't take a 357 Magnum?
Well, my usual place, this is what's really strange. My usual range has a rule that says nothing over 45. They let me shoot 454 all day long. I asked them one day, I was like, look, I'm getting ready to buy a 500 Magnum. How come I can't shoot that here? You guys have, high velocity ARs, you've got Thompsons, you've got Scar Heavies here. Does your backstop just not be able to handle it? And he says, oh no, our backstop's rated for 20 millimeter. We fired a Lati at it. And I'm like, so then why can't I shoot a 500 Magnum here? He's like, you have to think about the others standing next to you. So I made a deal with him. And he says, if I come by 20 minutes before they close, usually there's almost nobody there. He says I can come shoot my 500 there.
That's when you have them double up on ear protection.
Yeah.
I mean, that should be a given for any indoor range.
See, my goal is by this time next week, I will bring 50 cal Fridays to gun channels. In videos and pictures and whatnot, because it seems like Demo Ranch isn't doing his Barrett videos lately, and Fate of Destiny hasn't been destroying kitchen and appliances lately with her bear gun, so I want to bring 50 cal Fridays back to, or bring them to gun channels. Because America, that's why.
America. Fucking A. No, I can see that on an indoor range.
So we are at
Last weekend.
3.
What's that?
Ed should be starting any minute now. I think. Let's see if I can find him. It's about to start.
Alright, well, I'm going to shut this down so everybody can go check out Edge and his chat on Gun Free Zones. And whoever wants to hop over, he put a link in the lobby. So check it out or join.
Appreciate the host, Moon.
Yeah, no problem.
See you guys on the other side of this.